Welcome to the CCN Impact session titled From Startup to Sustainability, The Coach's Journey with Tim Figley. Tim is an International Coach Federation PCC and mentor coach. He holds bachelor's degrees from Liberty University and Vision International University with concentrations in business psychology and ministry. In addition, he has received numerous well-known accreditations in the field of coaching and training by distinguished worldwide organizations. Tim, it's great to have you with us here today to share this topic. I'm looking forward to hearing all about it, and I'm happy to invite you to get us started with your presentation.
Well, I'm really happy to be here, and I'm really happy that you got to tell us some of the names and where people are from. So it'll be really interesting being able to communicate this way while I'm here in my office and some people are in different parts of the country or the world. And one of the reasons why I so appreciate that is because I can remember when I first started taking coach training and I didn't know where I was going. Coaching itself and Christian coaching has been a blessing to my life, to my children's life, has been life-changing for me. I oftentimes say that I get to live the dream that I never knew I had, because I had some other dreams, but God steered me in this way to be a Christian coach, and the people that I get to interact with each day at a local level, at an international level, the topics we get to coach on, the impact it's made, the lives and business and ministry changes that they have been able to make in others' lives has been more rewarding than I could have really ever imagined if you would have asked me 10 years ago or 15 years ago. So I can appreciate what the CCM is doing because of the difference that it's made in my life. And I'm excited to be here with all of you. I'm excited that we're getting to connect in some way, shape, or form. I don't know everybody on the call yet, of course, but I'm going to invite you to connect in some form or fashion with me at some time so I get to know who's on here. So I decided to talk about this today, from startup to sustainability, because it's part of my journey, and it's a journey that I've witnessed and helped other coaches take as they wanted to be successful as coaches. And so I realized when Marcy asked, if I would share something, and I was thinking, what's the best thing to share with this group, I realized if I would have known from the beginning the journey that I was taking, and that there's really joy in the journey, and that every day there can be joy in the journey, even when there's hard times, even when I failed, even when I didn't do very well as a coach, then I think I might have taken a different perspective early on. It would have been more joyful, even though it's been very joyful, but that perspective of understanding that it's a journey has been great. The other thing that I realized is, as I've talked to so many coaches and coaches and experienced the journey myself, sustainability is a big thing, especially if somebody wants to do it on a full-time basis. And it wasn't enough for me to be successful. I realized I had to transfer that thinking from just becoming successful one time or a few times to becoming sustainable and to have a sustainable practice, something that was going to last, something that I needed to keep working on, but in some ways got on, I don't want to say just autopilot, because it's not just autopilot, but there's part of it is on autopilot once you get the systems in place, and you keep working, and you keep developing and adjusting. And so I just, as I thought of my topics and I saw all the other great topics from all the other great coaches, leaders, speakers this week, I thought this is something that could really impact, other coaches, hopefully the way that it would have impacted me. So as we get going, I'm going to just say here at the beginning, I'm going to talk about something we'll call the coach's dilemma, because I find it often. But basically I say here, you too can break through the coach's dilemma and develop a sustainable and fulfilling coaching business. That part of fulfilling is very important to me as well. But that coach's dilemma, we're going to take a look at that I find a lot of coaches actually have. Quick question here. Do you currently have a coaching business? So are you already in business? And then the other question I'm going to ask is, what brought you to the session today? So if you could type that in and let Linda share with me, I'd like to know what brought you to the session today, or what do you want to get out of the session? So just write that down somewhere or share that in the chat box, and let's hear some reasons why you're here today.
Sure. I think what a great question. It'll be fun to see who has a coaching business, who's where you're at with that, and then what brought you to the session today. Let's see. I have expanding my client base as what has brought people here. Expanding my client base, and someone else says, I just completed my initial training hoping to gain insight and encouragement to move forward. Someone else says, I want a sustainable business practice, so they're here. Another person is saying they're here for CCEUs, which is great. Those are important. Full-time internal coach. Someone says, I'm a full-time internal coach plus my own practice, deciding on whether I should market my own practice or if I would be overloaded. So that's interesting. Connecting with clients, is someone else said. Another person said, I'm just starting out. I'm halfway through classes. Another person is saying they want to find clients, connecting with individuals or organizations, just starting with that. Someone else is starting a business. Yeah, you've got a lot of people who are just starting up, wanting to learn what you and others have done and maybe pitfalls to avoid. Someone says, I've been a coach part-time while in ministry, and I sense a call to create a coaching as my main ministry source of income. And what has brought me here is to learn about moving into the business of coaching. Someone said, I want to know what I need to do last and make this my career. I do not have a business yet, only a name and ideas. So putting that together. Someone else says, my business is 1.5 years old. I would love to hear the characteristics of the phases of business from startup to sustainability. Wow. Can I keep going, Tim? There's just so much. People are, wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
That's great.
All right.
I love hearing.
Yeah. And I bet you're taking notes in the background, too. All right. I have someone saying, I currently do not have a coaching business. I'm interested in becoming a coach and came to the session today to get a perspective on the journey to sustainability. Next one says, I have a small solo coaching business, still working on developing my client network. So far, word of mouth is my main marketing strategy. It's much more clear about who I want to work with, which has been developed by working with clients where things went well or not so well. So people in process here. Let's see. Someone just wants to hear another person's journey. Another person says, I've had a business for a little over 1 year and just took a leap into this full-time 3 months ago. I'm here to grow this into a sustainable business model, and I want about 20 clients. Someone says, I'm trying to inhale all of the information I can during this week. Fantastic. Another person says, I'm starting out, have only 4 clients, and want to learn how to build a bigger business quickly. A couple more, I want to rev up my business, and this sounds like it will be helpful to redo and move forward. So someone maybe is redecorating, rejuvenating. Yes, I have a coaching business. I operate a counseling ministry as well. I'm facing the risks and the challenges of shifting and launching to really build into my coaching business. Someone wants to know how to grow it faster than word of mouth referrals. So I'm going to end with that one, but before I do, I'm just going to apologize. Those came really quick, and you guys gave really awesome responses, and I apologize for any of them I missed in the process there.
Yeah, wow. Well, I have my own dilemma. When I write that fast, I can't read my writing.
Oh.
I'll have to remember. No, but that's really good, and I appreciate, where everybody is and what they're doing, because I'm sure that no matter where each one of us are, we can make an impact, and that's a good thing. So, my prayer, you prayed, Linda, I'm going to pray that the Holy Spirit would speak to each person on their specific need, because I don't know if we'll hit every single one of those needs here, but I'm going to pray that the Holy Spirit would speak to each one and really kind of awaken something unique for each person, because I know that happens and that can be done here. So, all right.
I'll say amen to that, Tim. I'm with you.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what I want to say is this. It is possible. I just want to say this. It is possible. And when I say what's possible, I just want you to know that I just feel really blessed, and that I even as I was getting going, I had a dream and I had a vision of what I wanted to do, but I still sometimes had doubts. I would have a pretty good year, and then if something didn't go the way that I wanted to, I still would wonder, is this really what God's called me to do? And is it really possible to become sustainable? Am I ever going to get over the feeling of, am I going to have to go do something else? Am I ever going to get over the feeling, that this is kind of just a dream and it's only going to last so long? Am I ever going to really feel grounded and stable and strong, solid in what I do? So I'm just going to say this. It's possible. I have coaching clients that make more than $100,000 a year, just on a financial basis. A client that went from making $1,000 a month to $7,000 a month. An organizational coaching client that paid me $30,000 a year, just that one particular client for coaching. A client that had their books picked up by top publishing houses in America that are now going around the world. Clients that have been on television and developed television shows, podcasts, radio, that type of thing. And I've also have other clients that were not successful, and sometimes I would tell them the same things I'd tell the successful ones, and they're no longer in business. So I've seen it go both ways, and what I'm sharing here, why I share these numbers and the different stories real quick, is to just say this is possible, this is real. A lot of people say, is it really possible, and is it real? That's a question I get all the time. So it is. It is. We're going to share 4 things that have 4 things within them in about 44 minutes. I'm going to show you those real quick. Number 1, 4 attributes of a sustainable and fulfilling coaching business. So what are the 4 attributes? 4 tools to become or to help you develop a sustainable and fulfilling coaching business. The journey, the 4 seasons of business. Getting this perspective, this helped me so much have peace as I was on my journey. The 4 seasons of business to learn and develop your coaching business. And 4 disciplines of executing your business plan. Once you know what you want to do, once you have a plan in place, how do you execute? We're going to look at the 4 disciplines of execution. All right, we'll start out with the 4 attributes. 4 attributes that I see are needed for a sustainable business. I mentioned a moment ago that there's some that didn't make it, and I could probably diagnose why they didn't make it based on one of these 4 attributes. Number 1, executive skills. So this is organization, being able to manage your time, manage your email, stay organized with what you need to do. I've had people that were really good at coaching, but because they couldn't even, manage some of their leads coming in, they weren't able to build and develop and remain sustainable. Emotional intelligence, and I know there was a session here within this forum this week on emotional intelligence. So I'm going to just say those are trust building skills, the ability to network, build rapport, and so each one of these here, you're going to see a little assessment you can go to or you can take, and I can always email you this as well. Another attribute, the 3rd attribute, is a roadmap for business building. So having the right roadmap, knowing where you're going and having the right roadmap to get there. financial planning, understanding the market, the marketplace, the ability to sell, that sales ability, business processes that you need to have in place. So those are all parts of the roadmap. And then the last one is having a solid product or service. And for most of us on this call, it's going to be a coaching practice. You're going to have a coaching service. So making sure that it can add value, that it's proven or you can prove it somehow, and that you can deliver results on what people are looking for. So those are the 4 attributes that I see are needed for sustainable coaching business. And usually, if somebody is missing one of them, then it's going to affect the entire business. So a lot of times when I've worked with people, they have 2 or 3 of these, and we just work on one. Other times, we have to work on 2 of them, or maybe 3. So we will highlight the 3rd one here, the roadmap for business building today. All right, the next thing I'm going to have you do, and we're going to have each one of you answer this question here, but I want you to imagine where you want your journey to take you 4 years from now. And here's why I want you to imagine that. In 4 years from now, the Summer Olympics are going to be in Pyeongchang, and that's in 2018. And right now, they're working every day toward making that goal successful, toward making it a successful Olympic experience. So they know where they want to go. They have the vision for what that Olympic Village needs to look like. And so I'm going to ask for you to picture yourself 4 years from now. How will you know you're experiencing fulfillment as a coach? How will you know you're hitting your goals in 2018? So if you wouldn't mind, write in, again, the chat box, your 2018 vision. And that can, ways you could write it down, it could be number of clients, it could be the amount of money you're making, it could be inner fulfillment, it could be the quality of relationships, it could be impact on the people around you. So write those down, and we're going to just have Linda share for a moment on some of the vision, some of the goals that each one of you have.
Great question for everyone to just think through. Where do you want to be 4 years from now? How would you know you are experiencing fulfillment as a coach? Someone says, I'm still alive in coaching. I have leave current job and be a full-time leadership coach with 12 premium clients. Another person says, I want to be at the PCC level.
Good.
Does anyone else have anything to share at the moment? What would it look like 4 years from now if you're experiencing fulfillment as a coach? I would love to grow our partnership. So this wife and I both coach to 6 figures, as well as bringing on 2 to 4 more coaches with the potential of my kids in the business as well as others. Someone else says, I want to be making a recognizable difference in the lives of my clients.
Awesome.
Someone says MCC and then single income 20 clients monthly. Another person says I'm a sought-after coach, partnering with and encouraging others about potential to make an impact.
Great, great.
Okay.
Good. Good. That's great. So there's a lot of people here that are hungry to make a difference, that are hungry to build their practice and make an impact in their community. So that vision, having that vision, is going to be so important to keep in front of you. I know that when I got started, we put the vision on the wall, and just like in Habakkuk, they talked about writing the vision down and look at it. So I know for me, that was pretty important, knowing where I wanted to go. All right. So the coach's dilemma, like I said a moment ago, the coach's dilemma that I find a lot of people have are they love helping people. They have compassion for others. They want to see their gifts used. They know they have gifts. They're probably well trained with those gifts. They want to make money at what they're doing. And the question is, can you identify with this? You're called with a purpose, but not enough clients yet. So that's ultimately the coach's dilemma up here in blue. Called with a purpose, but not enough clients to really fulfill what you have intended when you got involved as a coach. I can identify with you. I loved coaching. I had my training and accreditation with the ICF. I felt called with a purpose to help others. My life had been changed from coaching, so I really wanted to help others through coaching. I spent a lot of money, a lot of research, a lot of education, got a lot of education, and I wanted to find out what it took to have a successful coaching business. But my dilemma was, I had to look at it square in the face. I finished coach training in 2007, and I had 0 clients. And because of that, I had to go back and work, and I drove this truck. I had to go back and drive this truck around and pick up copiers and take the copiers back to where they need to go, because I had to support these 2 little people here, my kids, and make sure that they had what they needed, but it took me away from them. And so I didn't really like it very much. But what I decided to do was continue to learn. I took every hour I was in that truck, and I learned what it was going to take to build a sustainable coaching practice. And I began to get to the roots. I began to find, okay, so there's not clients, and other people that I was talking with didn't have clients. So we had to kind of dig down and find the roots. The roots often are this: that coaches often don't have the right roadmap of how to build a business. So that's the entrepreneurship side. So oftentimes they have had coach training, they're good at what they do, but it's that business component that really causes them to struggle, the entrepreneurship side. When they don't have that, then they don't know how to achieve their vision. So you wrote your vision down without some of the right roadmap and the entrepreneurial skills. Sometimes it's hard to achieve that vision because that coaches aren't able to take the right actions at times, which means without the right team, without the right actions, and without the right group of people around them to help them stay accountable, that they probably won't hit that vision. So shallow roots, when we look at the roots, shallow roots will not produce fruit. So you won't get the fruit we're looking for without the right roots. So often coaches don't know why they're in their current situation. And this is what I found is it's a bit baffling at times. Therefore, they can't predict where to go next. And I've seen some that have given up too quickly when they really had something great inside of them to give and to help and support others. And because of that, then they don't sometimes fulfill their desires they had originally when they were starting their business. They don't fulfill that vision. Part of the answer to this comes out of 1 Chronicles 12:32. And it says, in the children of Issachar, which were men that had understanding of the times to know what Israel ought to do. And so there are 2 parts I want to look at real quick here. Number one is they understood the times, understood the situation, and they know what to do next. Because they understood the situation, they understood the scenario, the situation they were in, their environment around them. They knew what to do next, and that's so important. Understanding where we're at and what the marketplace is like and what strengths we have and what our weaknesses and kind of that SWOT analysis idea, kind of knowing where we're at, and then also having a roadmap or knowing where to go from where we're at, I found was so important. All right, so getting the right roadmap. I remember reading this quote from Stephen Covey years ago that said, "The power of an accurate paradigm lies in its ability to explain and predict." And that was just amazing to me. The power of an accurate paradigm lies in its ability to explain and predict. That's why a guy like Dr. John Gottman from Seattle, who is a marriage counselor, can explain and predict marital success or failure rate by watching somebody for 5 minutes or watching a couple interact for 5 minutes and be able to predict at a 95% rate if they're going to succeed or if it's going to fail based on their interaction. And this study's gone on for 30 years. The reason he can do that is he has an accurate paradigm. And that accurate paradigm allows us to explain what's going on and why it's going on and predict where to go next. So we're going to give you a paradigm. We're going to do these parts here. Number one, learn an accurate and proven business roadmap. That's the paradigm there. Assess where your coaching business is within that roadmap. We're going to give you an assessment tool. Create an action plan to move forward, and then remain consistently accountable to that plan to get results. We're going to provide tools, some tools here to get you where you're looking to go. Number one, a brief training on a successful roadmap for a coaching business. So some people said they would like to see some of the phases. They'd like to see, the way it would look on the journey. Access to a coach's business assessment to assess where you are in your coach's journey. Okay, so a way to assess where you're at, a business assessment, and then an action planning tool to move forward. So once you've assessed where you're at, then a planning tool to move forward, a one-page plan. So a little action tool, and then also a measuring and accountability tool to track your progress, to stay on target. We call it a scoreboard, to stay on target. All right. So as we were talking about that accurate roadmap and that paradigm, where I got the information here, the 4 seasons of business, was from a parable. So it's a parable of business that I got. I got a paradigm for business from the parable of the sower. And the parable of the sower, of course, is a farmer went out to sow his seed. As he was scattering the seed, some fell along the path, and the birds came and ate it up. Some fell upon rocky places where it did not have much soil. It sprang up quickly because the soil was shallow. But when the sun came up, the plants were scorched, and they withered because they had no root. Other seed fell among thorns, which grew up and choked the plants. And still other seed fell on good soil, where it produced a crop, 100, 60, or 30 times what was sown. And I remember as I was going and reading this parable, and I never saw it, but I realized all of a sudden that it actually could be applied to business. I realized that when we're talking to people, when we come into the lives of so many people that we might be able to coach and work with, that some of the people are, as we sow our message into them, that some of the people are not going to be ready for it. Some people are never going to want to hear it. And then some people are not ready yet, but they're going to be ready. And so that's where we're going to show you the 4 seasons. So tool number 1 is the roadmap. As a Christian coach, you're an extension of the gospel. And, if you look at this parable, the Bible, talks about what the parable means. And in the Bible, it says the ground that it was sown into is the heart of people. The seed was the word or the message. And then, of course, there's the 30, 60, and 100-fold return. In your coaching business, the ground is the heart of your audience. It's your market. It's what the people think, their heart. The seed is your message, how you're extending the gospel in your way, the way as a ministry or as a coach. You have something that offers a solution, you have a message, and then of course the people that you're going to run into are in different places. So if you follow the 4 seasons consistently, you can help people that might only give you a 30-fold return become 100-fold clients. And what I'm going to show you how that works. So the roadmap, a little bit more about the 4 seasons today. Okay. To the left, you're going to see what I'm going to call the know, like, and trust factor. And ultimately, the theory around this is that people buy, or they, your clients, your potential clients, your prospects are going to buy from who they know, like, and trust. So you have to be in front of them. You have to like what you have to say. You have to trust that you can help them. All right? So you can see this. Here's at the bottom, you have time, and then up here's trust. And usually it takes time to build trust. So you got time going down on the bottom, you got trust going up at the top. It takes time to get through the know, like, and trust factor. And once the trust is there, people are usually willing to invest in something or somebody they trust in. To the right, the bullet points, networking is the same today as it was in the days of Jesus. So we're going to talk a little bit about networking and this networking idea using this, the 4 seasons. You still need to know the know, like, and trust factor. Marketing itself consists of 3 things. Number 1 is the message, your message. Number 2 is the market, the people, the audience. And number 3 is the media, or the way in which you share your message with your market. So right now, of course, we're communicating via the internet, via GoToMeeting. The types of media have changed. So we wouldn't have been able to do this in Jesus' time, but the message and the market is the same. If we were standing out in a field, we could do the same thing. We could tell the same story. So the media has changed, but the message in the market is the same. So I find sometimes people, and I've worked with churches, and I work with other coaches, and there was that technology barrier that was more of a psychological barrier than a real technology barrier, because the technology is just a form of media, but the message is the same, reaching the same market. So looking at a few things in this roadmap, okay? This is really, really neat. When I began to see how the parable worked, the parable of the sower and the 4 seasons worked, it was eye-opening to me, okay? So we're going to go from left to right, and we're going to look at the top here and show you just a few things. Number 1 is to the left, you see the season. The season we're in is that first column. Number 2 is the color that represents the season within our way of marketing. The third column there is the funnel. Where are we at in the funnel? Because it ultimately is like a funnel. We've seen marketing funnels and things before, but this kind of takes it and places it in a little different area. The 4th column is the buy factor. What's causing somebody to make a decision to buy? And then we have activity. So there's activity is the 5th column. And then the last one is media. Now I'm just going to check in real quick. Did something change, Kelly? I'm not sure. Something changed on my end just a moment ago. Where maybe I started to hear something more or some feedback or something. I don't know if I need to be concerned with that or not, but it sounded like something changed about 30 seconds ago.
Tim, this is Linda, and you're fine. I'm hearing you the same and just fine, I think, for me anyway. Okay. Kelly, do you want to check in?
That's okay. If it sounds good, then we're good. It just changed on my end.
It's good for me, Kelly. It's good for me, Tim.
You're fine.
Great. Thank you so much. All right. So as we take a look at, thank you, Kelly. All right. So as we take a look here, the first season, we'll just kind of look at the first season. The first season would be spring, and so we're going to liken spring and we're going to use the color green for, you know, in the springtime, you know, the grass grows and the trees blossom, and you see a lot of green outside. And where we're at in the funnel here is we're at the top of the funnel. Okay, so springtime, you're really trying to build at the top of the funnel, people in the top of the funnel. The buy factor there, they're usually where at this point they know you. Okay, the activity that you need to do with somebody, so this is maybe when you first meet them or when you're first connecting online, is sow seeds. Sow seeds and make contact. Now, what do I mean by sow seeds? You know, creating materials that add value in your conversations. Make sure you're adding value. The idea of sowing seeds here is the idea of making sure you're adding value. The mindset that you have is you're just simply adding value. You're simply sowing into that person's life, that group's life, that organization's life, that church's life, whoever you're working with. You are there to simply sow a seed of value to them. And the media form in which that can be done in so many ways. It can be word of mouth. It can be face-to-face, but it can also be online, offline, through social networks, connections. You can get connections on LinkedIn, fans, Facebook friends, whatever, and build that top of the funnel with people that know you and where you're just simply adding value. Now, at that point, you're going to have some people that have an interest in what you have. Now, again, we use that parable, so they might be at a 30-fold level or a 60-fold level or a 0-fold level. They may not be ready. So it's going to be important then to do what we're going to call the summertime activity, which is in red. Why red? Summertime has heat. Okay? But what we're going to do is try to warm up the relationship. It's the middle of the funnel. We're going to bring them from the top area into that middle area of the funnel. And hopefully, through this building of the relationship, they're going to like what we have. They're going to like us. They're going to like our service. And if you think about, you make the connection, the important thing to do, just like you sow a seed in the ground. Now, you think about in springtime, you sow a seed in the ground. What do you have to do? It takes nurturing. And it takes some warmth now. Because you sow seed in spring, it's not always, at least in my part of the world where I live in Ohio, it's not always real warm in spring. But the farmers are out, they're planting the field, and they're getting the seeds in the ground, but boy, they're dependent on that sunshine. They're dependent on warmth. They're dependent on some rain also to nurture them. And it's the time to nurture the relationships. So even if somebody's not quite ready for what you have, it's going to be important to stay in contact with them. It's going to be important to have something in place to be able to nurture that relationship. You might nurture that relationship for 2 weeks, and they become a client. You also might nurture that relationship for 2 years or 4 years, and until they become a client. But getting this mindset, again, creates peace, because this is the natural way things are done. And the interesting thing is the parable, when we look at what Jesus talked about in the parable, he was talking about the human heart. So our hearts and our lives kind of work like nature a bit. So that's about nurturing those relationships. And ways you can do that is through newsletter, lead nurturing, emails, social media posts, follow-up meetings, cards. We use send-out cards. You can use, other ways to nurture those relationships, to keep staying in front of them. Again, to get them to continue to like what you have to offer. And then ultimately, harvest. The third row down is harvest. Okay? Harvest is in orange, because the harvest time comes. And if they know you, they like you, now they were at the top of the funnel, and the funnel, if you look at that funnel above, and some of you might have heard this before, know this, and some might not have, but you're looking, and the funnel is always bigger at the top. The reason it's always bigger at the top is because there's a lot more people there. But then as you get down to the bottom of the funnel, there's a lot less people. But those are the people, once you've got down to the bottom of the funnel, that's where the harvest comes in. And that's at the bottom of the funnel. It's orange because orange is represented for harvest time. autumn, fall. It's where we're at right now here in October. And that's when you harvest clients. That's when you get more clients, because now you've tapped into the trust factor. If you've sown seeds into their life, you've added value, you kept nurturing them, you stayed in front of them, there comes a time where if they're the right type of client, they're going to become ready. And now with the trust, now you harvest clients, you get more clients. And, you know, this can be done one-on-one. You can hold workshops where they attend, online classes or offline classes. You can have students, coachees. You can have products that they buy. But this is the point where they're buying from you. Now you're reaping the harvest. Okay, you're reaping where you've sown. And then the last one's winter. Winter at the bottom row, winter there is in blue. Winter, kind of blue, represents that cold time of year. And it's at that point during that time where you've already got the harvest now, but you need to make sure you're reinvesting in those people. You're making sure that you're doing a really good job. How do you do that? That buy factor over there in column number 4 is you're making sure you're delivering on your promises, or you're delivering good results. And that's going to be the key to building referral partners. That's going to be the key to turning them into people that will go out and share your message or tell how good of an experience they've had. And that's going to be, you know, if you look to the right, referral-based, word of mouth, that type of thing. So you're delivering results, but by delivering results, you're reinvesting. Now, this can look ultra simple. It can seem like, wow, maybe like, wow, it could be a long time. And it can be really as long or as short as it needs to be, depending on where you're at and where the people are at in your network. But what I found with this is, again, it provides a good view of where you're at, and it provides a lot of peace in doing it like this. All right, the coach's journey. So, you know, you think about this, a full-grown tree has a ring for each year. It goes through the seasons hundreds of times to become full-grown. Your business can be like a full-grown tree through consistently following the 4 seasons, over and over and over and over. And the point of this slide is this, is it doesn't happen just one time. It happens over and over and over and over again. So you might have a really good harvest time in your business. And it's going to be important to know that harvest doesn't stay around all the time. You know, you think about what all the leaders here at CCN did. There was a lot, they went through this process. And here we are, we're at harvest time right now. Everybody's on the phone line, and everybody's here attending, and everybody's involved. But it can't be harvest time all the time. You couldn't run an event. Everybody would be too tired to run an event like this all year long. It's only one time a year for a week, and that's because you got to get through this process. But if it's done really well, and we all enjoy it, and I think we are, and we love what's going on, then it gets better and bigger the next year. And you keep running it, and you keep running it, and you keep building like that. And that's what they're doing here. So that's tool number 1. Tool number 1 is getting that right mindset, that right paradigm, and understanding that through the 4 seasons of business. All right, I'm going to just jump into tool number 2 here, and this is where you're going to assess your current situation, where you're going to assess your business. And you should have been given this assessment. It's a sample assessment, and I'm going to give you an opportunity where you can take this assessment also if you want to. So what I'm going to show you real quick, I'm going to pull up, this is a sample assessment. This is a sample assessment. It's called the 4 Seasons of Business Assessment Report. And this assessment allows you to answer several questions. I think there's about 30 questions on here about your business and produce an image and a report of exactly where you're at. So this is the second tool. Okay, I'll just show you a couple little pieces to this report. You're going to see by answering 6 questions in each area where you're at. So how strong are you for example, at planning and preparing. Now that comes before you get into the 4 seasons. That's something that has to be done whether you're planning a farm and developing some agriculture, or you're building a business. That planning and preparing phase. Then you see how strong are you at sowing seeds, and that's on the marketing side of things. How strong are you nurturing those relationships, nurturing your network, nurturing those that you got on your email list or that you came in contact with. How strong are you at once they're really close? How good are you at making sure you get the contract? How good are you at closing the deal? I think that's one of the things that I've ended up working with people the most on is making sure they can maximize that relationship there at the end and get that contract. Because I think a lot of times people, they can do, the first one seem a little bit easy, and sometimes if they're not used to it, that one can be challenging. But we have a way to kind of assess that and see what do you need to do next. And then lastly, reinvesting. How good are you at reinvesting in the harvest? How good are you at delivering results and preparing people to also share your message? So each one of these, you'll answer the question, and then what will happen is you can see the rankings, and there's all kinds of different areas on here. And in each area, there's a number, there's an action, and then there's a season to each one, and then you get a score. Okay, and I'm just going to be brief with it, but you can get this, and you can get more information on it. And then each area, the planning and preparing, the sowing seeds, each one is broken down. So we'll just take a look at this as an example. The strategic planning part, the planning and preparing for your business consists of clarifying your mission, the legal structure, your goals, building your team, your financial plan, identifying your target market, your unique selling proposition, the value, all of those type of things. And what you do is you get a little score on, how strong is your mentor or your support team. Do you have a good support team around you? How about a business plan? Do you have a business plan? If you want to be in business and you want to hit that goal that we talked about a little while ago, do you have a business plan? Do you have the right financial business model for your type of business? If it's a nonprofit, do you have a way to raise funds? If you're a for-profit, coach, do you have a way to do that? If you're an internal coach, what's that look like? If you're shifting or transitioning, what's that look like? Do you have the right business model? Do you have the right target market? And then do you have a really good unique selling proposition? Do you have a good unique way of communicating why somebody should get into a relationship with you as a coach? So those are some of the things we'll look at, and that's all in the assessment part of building your business. All right, so once you've assessed where you're at, that's important. We talked about that early on, assessing where you're at, okay? Once you've assessed where you're at, then you've identified your vision, you've identified where you want to go, why you're here. Now you assess your business as a whole. And from there, you create a plan. You kind of put it into a plan. What we're going to offer is a one-page plan, because a one-page plan, of course, is something that is easy. I have mine on the wall right here. Every year I'll update it once a year, but that one-page plan you can see, and that consists of vision, mission, values, your objectives, so your goals, your strategies to get to your goals, a SWOT, or a strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, milestones. What are the milestones, and then of course the plan. And I'm going to just show you the other little tool we have. And this is available for you as well. Should be available on the website. This is the 4 Seasons scoreboard, but in the scoreboard, the first part, the first 2 tabs on the Excel sheet is a place to put your one-page plan, okay? And that one-page plan, this is a planning example. I'm showing you a planning example of someone's, or what can go in each area. And then there's a blank template for you to fill out your one-page plan. What is your vision? Maybe it's what we talked about a moment ago. what's your purpose and your values, and really identifying not only your vision, but a plan and how you're going to get there. What are some strategies you're going to use? And what are some of the strengths and weaknesses that might have come out in that assessment? And then how you're going to attain those goals. What are the milestones? How are you going to know you're on your way to getting there? Okay, so that is another thing that is important as you're working to achieve your goals, is having that plan put together. And we like the one-page plan. All right. So along with that tool, some people have asked this question, how much time, talent, treasure should you put into growing your business through marketing? So some people already mentioned, where they want to go, and what they want to avoid. There's a company here in America called Score, and from their website, they say this: block out 2 hours per day for growth activities. And a study by SunTrust Bank a few years ago found owners of growing businesses with 20% or greater revenue growth per year spend at least 20% of their time on sales and marketing activities. So coaches, that's something to be aware of, that the companies that are growing spend about 20% of their time at least on sales and marketing activities, whether they're developing their skills better or they're just out doing it. Some of that time has to be spent each day scheduling time for reviewing your prospect list, reaching out maybe via social media, working on your marketing campaign, and make marketing and sales the first thing on your calendar. Otherwise, you'll find your sales and revenue pipeline will run dry. Even if you have a full client base, or once you get a full client base, if you don't continue to work on it, your pipeline could run dry, and then maybe when those client relationships up, that's going to be a challenge. All right, moving here into the last tool. Tool number 4, the 4 disciplines of executing your vision. And I learned this years ago, and I started to practice it, and this is where the rubber meets the road. And I think when I've helped other coaches get to where they want to go, whether it was getting clients, selling books, getting a book written, building their prospect list, getting leads, building their network, making money, whatever it was, we had to get it down to the brass tacks. We had to get it down to where the rubber met the road. And there was 4 things to do to execute on that vision, or execute on that goal. Number 1, discipline number 1 is focus on the wildly important goal. What's the primary goal? Because even as a coach, we can have 7 or 8 goals, and sometimes that's okay, but focusing on the 1, 2, or 3 goals is going to be very important. The wildly important ones. What's the most important? The top goal. Discipline 2, act on the lead measures that are going to get you there. Or in other words, act on the lead activities that are going to get you specifically to those goals. So put those first and foremost in your calendar. And then these next 2, I think a lot of people don't often do, that can be the real difference makers. Discipline 3 is keep a compelling scoreboard. So have a compelling scoreboard, a scoreboard that's up in front of you that you can see, or that you check in with once a week or something like that, a scoreboard to check off or to know that you're getting closer to that goal. That's something that they found are so important. And this 4 disciplines really came from the Franklin Covey group when they were helping people to make sure they were able to hit and achieve their goals, organizations. And this came from a large study, and you can see the source of it below. And then discipline 4, again, that last piece that's a difference maker. Create a cadence of accountability. Now, a cadence of accountability, that cadence is how often? Once a week, once every 2 weeks, but some level of accountability to get there. And that's a difference maker. Right now I'm writing a book, and that was on my checklist for a lot of years. But I knew come summertime this year, I realized it's never going to get done. It's never going to get done unless I hire a coach for me in this particular area. I have coaches in other areas, but I had to get one in that area, and I found somebody that was, published several books, sold a lot of copies, knew what they were doing, and I realized it's very important for me to have a cadence of accountability and have somebody keep me accountable on that. And then part of that tool number 4 is that scoreboard that we just looked at, creating a scoreboard for accountability, tracking, and consistency. So the scoreboard creates accountability, tracking, and consistency if there's the cadence of accountability. So planning and executing and tracking the right actions and activities will get you the results in order to achieve your ultimate goal. I'm going to go back to the other little document. And again, this is available. We looked right here at the one-page plan. How do you make that vision become a reality? How do you turn that plan into something that's going to happen? We created here, what I'm going to show is a yearly tracking plan for all 4 seasons. So what it looks like here is and I don't know how well you're able to see this at the top of your screen. I guess I'm going to make it a little bigger so you can see it a little better. But here's somebody that wanted to execute and make sure they built their business, okay? And so we had one was connections. We were going to build their connections. So we created a scoreboard, we created a goal, and then we tracked it once a week. So for the entire year it was tracked. We went all the way through the year to get to that goal. And we built a lot of connections. Some were from LinkedIn, some were from Facebook, some were from Twitter, some were from their local area, some were from local networking. But we built a bunch of connections. The other one was their list. So once they were connections that first time, getting them on a consistent list was the next goal. That was that middle of the funnel, that nurturing, to nurture them. And then clients. And we were able to look and make sure that we turned their list, the people on their list, some of them into clients. And so you see this all the time. You see it done where anybody is successful. And this is a scoreboard to make it happen. All right, catching back up here from where we were on the PowerPoint. So this is again somebody else's. We worked to get them. Their goal, this time a few years ago was to get 15 clients a month, and so we had a scoreboard to make that happen. All right. Well, everybody's been great listeners. Call to action for the day. Number 1. Focus on the right roadmap. If you want to get to your vision, make sure you get the right roadmap, that entrepreneurial roadmap that will get you to where you want to go. Okay? Number 2, assess where you're at. In the process, in the business building process, make sure you assess where you're at. Number 3, from that assessment, make a plan to move forward toward your vision. And then number 4, the accountability and support, somehow to measure and help you track your progress so you're staying on target to getting there. The 7-day plan, something you can do in 7 days. What can you do over the next 7 days? Think about that and write it down. And then this. Who can you be accountable to? I showed you a moment ago the value of the 4 disciplines of execution. One of them was the cadence of accountability. Who can you be accountable to make it happen? Whether it's a coach, whether it's a coach buddy or a partner of some kind or a business partner or a coaching friend or somebody, who can you be accountable to that you're going to do these things over the next week? The bottom thing says this to different people. Could say, opportunity is nowhere. But I think, and I've looked each year, and I said, opportunity is now here. The challenge for you is to look and know the opportunity is now here for you and that you can take advantage of it. If you want to ask me questions or get any more of this information that I would need to send to you, or you need an assessment or something, there's my email, there's my phone number. Email me, and I'll be glad to get you what you need. It's been awesome being able to share some of this journey with you, and bring it back to Linda here, and maybe take some questions or have her close up.
Sure. Well, that is a great call to action, Tim. I'm glad you got your slide up there with your contact information. And I'm going to just suggest, why don't we go back to the previous slide and have people share. That's such an exciting thing to ask, really. Of course, the coaching geek in me, comes out and says, I want to hear what people's 7-day plans are. I want to see what it is that people think about. What can you do over the next 7 days, and who can be accountable to make it happen? What can you do over the next 7 days? What would you be excited about doing that Tim has inspired you to challenge you to? So I'm looking forward to that. And so while you're thinking about that and hopefully adjusting to being willing to share what that might be, I would love to see you type that in. But while we do that, Tim, I'm going to give the password to everyone as well. So you're going to grab the password for this particular session, and the password for the CCEUs to verify that you've been here throughout the time frame is sustainability. That's SUSTAINABILITY. So sustainability is the password. So of course you're going to use that at the time that we end this call, and use that to fill out the survey and give us some feedback, and also use that to verify that you've been here and involved in being with us over this time frame and learning from Tim. Okay. We are going to go ahead and I'm going to follow up. Actually, Tim, there were a couple questions too, and I'm starting to get in some answers here to the question about the 7-day plan, the 7-day challenge. But there was a couple questions. I just want to ask you to clarify, Tim. People were asking about the assessment report that you were showing. It's where do they find that? Can you say that again, where they find that, and is it only available through the online link? Tim, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I should be on mute. If
are you
they
looking
could,
for letting people know where to?
I am.
That's
One
great.
thing
That'll be really helpful. That will be really helpful. And then so those of you who are sharing, feel free to continue. And Tim's going to go ahead and, did you decide where to go and put that up?
Yes, I'm getting it now here to put it up.
Okay, great. Well, I know that someone said, and this is regarding, this was regarding the funnel and the seasons when that was first introduced and explained. There was a comment that said that's one of the best analogies and clarifications of this process I've ever seen. So that was someone was pleased to receive that analogy. We have, love how God gave you the idea of 4 seasons assessment from the parable. So the same thing. People really appreciating that.
Here's what I'm going to have everybody do. If they email me that, I will get them the assessment.
That's
I think
fantastic.
There's one, yeah, but
Yeah.
go ahead and have them email me. That would be the best thing at this point.
That's great. That's great. Okay. So Tim's saying that for those of us who are interested in actually having a link to the assessment, taking the assessment, knowing he will connect if we email him at tim@kingsway.co.
Yes.
Yes, not com, but co. So,
Right.
all right. So Tim, we've got some ideas for people over the 7-day plan. Someone says if you send them the link, their plan for the within the 7 days is they want to take the assessment. Another person says, I'm so wowed by what Tim has taught us tonight. Big concrete action steps to move us forward. Another person says they're going to assess where they are and put their plan into one page and put it in a visible place. And then there's some questions. One significant challenge is to discern what is needed for a successful roadmap forward. What advice do you have for us there?
Okay. Ask that one more time, please.
Sure. One significant challenge is to discern what is needed for a successful roadmap forward. What advice do you have for us?
Well, I think that is one of the points of the assessment. What the assessment does is it shows where you're strong in building a roadmap and where someone is not strong. What are the components that they don't have? So as far as kind of creating that roadmap, it does start with knowing where you want to go. So it starts with that vision. It could be a 4-year vision, it could be a 2-year, a 1-year, or a 5-year, but knowing where you want to go, assessing where you're at completely. So the assessment is very robust in the sense that, okay, and it's very individualized. So with the assessment, it's very individualized, knowing this is where you are at, which is completely different than where someone else is at. And then from there, taking where you're at with that diagnosis and then using the planning tool that we have to get where they're going to go and then executing to get there. I think, though, to answer it with where they're at specifically, it would probably take looking at their situation specifically. I think I gave you some broad steps, but each person has a unique and specific situation.
Okay, so I heard you encouraging people to create their unique vision and really flesh that out along with where they're at and then go from there. And you were saying that the assessment that you offer is helpful in that process. And someone is asking, is there a fee for the assessment?
No fee. No.
Okay, so there's no fee. It's a gift from you and your organization. That's just, that's great. So that's good to know. Let's see. Actually, Tim, I had a question for you, but I have to look back in my notes to, okay, one of the things that I noticed was interesting and certainly I think such an important point, and that is what you gave the information that 20% companies that are successfully moving forward and growing spend 20% of time, I think, on sales and marketing activities.
Right.
And you know what I was thinking about is we have a lot of coaches on the line who either haven't started a business or they're just starting a business. Can you give them a perspective? I mean, do they just expect to spend 20% of their time in a week or a month as the initial stages go on? Or really, what does that look like for a coach starting out and compared to someone who may already be closer to sustainability or actually working sustainably, which is, I think, what that 20% was was certainly even for, as you were saying, for companies and businesses that are already sustainable, that it needs to continue at that level of 20%. So could you just speak to help the newer coaches think through what that might look like when they're just starting out? Is it 20% or is it a lot more?
Yeah, that's a fantastic point. That's a fantastic question, and it does speak to where people are at here. So I would say that it would be a lot more in most cases. Again, what I realize is that every coach has a unique, proposition, a unique value proposition. We have health coaches and relationship coaches and life coaches and all kinds of coaches. So it's very unique. And every coach has already a network around them of some kind that's very unique. Sometimes the network that's been already built, sometimes it's not. They also may have the potential for other joint venture partners or other people to partner with them. And so everybody, again, has a very unique situation. And within that unique situation, I think that's where the marketing and sales, the amount of time and energy you put in is always going to be different, especially in that startup phase. So I think that as a startup, at least for me, it probably started out at around 80%. That planning and preparing phase was a big, long phase for me, and with many of the coaches I've worked with, that's a very big phase for them as well. Identifying all the ways to put their plan together successfully. Okay, that was very, very important. So I think it was probably 80%, and then as more business came in, and as I coached more people, then I had to put my time into the actual coaching itself, which was very enjoyable, and then it probably just went right down the scale from 80 to 60 to 50, 40, into where once coaches become sustainable, then they still want to have, again, a round number or an average of 20% of their activity going towards the sales and marketing. So that's a great point.
Okay. Well, we're gonna wrap up here real soon. So if you have any more burning questions or comments for Tim, I really encourage you to get them in the questions box now so that I can share them with him. And Tim, I think that you've shared your contact information. I'm just going to invite you to give some wrapping up comments. If there are any burning questions that we need to answer before we stop the recording, we can do that, but we also will be staying on the line after as well, just briefly. But Tim, would you like to go ahead and just give some concluding comments at this time?
Sure. I do see a lot of people sending emails coming in, both with questions and requesting different things, and that's fine. So I guess one of the things that to conclude that I would say is the thing that was so valuable to me. One of the other things that was so valuable to me was again to make sure that I had the right people around me that believed in me, because believing that you're going to get there and having people affirm what that gift and calling as a coach is, or people that can recognize what that gift is, what that calling is inside of you as a coach, what you have to offer. I would say that was something that was very, very important to me. And I would say, if I'm a new coach and I could go back and do it over again, and I look at what can I do over the next 7 days, one of the other little things I'm probably going to do, not only get the vision and make sure that I put my action plan together, but I'm going to identify maybe 5 or 6 people that I can surround myself with that are going to encourage me, help me, call out the right things in me, and help me get there. And I might also eliminate anybody who might be really hindering me in that area as well. So I think that's the other component that can be very helpful and successful for people.
Sure. Developing a community of supportive people that you can be accountable to. They're going to be positive and encourage. That's great.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, great. Well, I'm going to go ahead and just wind down here with a big thanks to you, Tim, for sharing all of this and for giving people the opportunity to go ahead and take advantage of your assessment and having that even be free. That's just great. You've had some folks that have shared some positive comments of appreciation. I'm so wowed by what Tim has taught us tonight. Big concrete action steps to move us forward. Thanks, many thanks for the assessment and this incredible presentation. So people are really thankful for that, and I just want to express that to you, Tim. Also want to express thanks to the audience. Thanks for being here, for interacting, for those of you especially who are sharing initially your vision and then also your ideas for what you're going to do within the next 7 days. I want to just also affirm what Tim said and encourage you that as you identified what you're going to do in the next 7 days to think through and act on who is going to be accountable, hold you accountable for those things. Who are you going to tell? And so that those things that are going to move you forward along these lines will actually be supportive and have a greater chance of happening for you. I love the inspiration that Tim's given. And so again, thanks, Tim. And just a reminder to everyone, we have given the password, and if you go ahead and use that as you're prompted to complete the survey, you'll be able to, as you do complete the survey, it'll be helpful to us to improve future e-summits, but also helpful to you to fulfill those CCEU requirements. If you've not visited the sponsor giveaway, please do that. Tomorrow is the giveaway drawings, are the giveaway drawings, and in order to register for those, please go to the Impact website, find the sponsor giveaway page, do your entry for that on that particular page. And so we encourage you to do that. If you have any questions just after we stop the recording, I'm going to just do that in a moment. We will stay on the line for a couple of more minutes just in case there's anything else that anyone needs clarified, and I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now.